Right.
All right.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pokondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, eh, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Night Debate on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jar, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's edition of Focus on Liberia, we're going to be discussing the fight against corruption. Are we winning or are we losing? How do we know that? But before we go into that, there is a new law school that has started in Liberia. That's the Liberia School of Law. That school has started, and we have those who started the school right here with us to talk about it. Why we have this school, what it's supposed to be doing, what are the qualifications, why do we need a law school? Of course, I know why. But we have everyone here to do that. Let me welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Let me welcome first our guest, Mr. Se Balaze. He is one of the people behind the law school. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. Thanks for inviting us to your show. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Let me also welcome a familiar name in Liberian TV business, Mr. Kwame Clement. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Good to be here with you guys.
Thank you. Those two, we're going to be talking to them about the law school. But let me welcome the hometown crew. Let's start with the champ mother, Glendy Jr. Welcome, Glendy.
Hello, Dennis. Hello, everybody. I'm so honored to be on a show with my father's friend, son, the former Chief Justice Balazer. And I'm also extremely elated that I'm on a show with Kwame Clements, the great Kwame Clements. So I think I should not have missed this show tonight. I'm really excited to be here. But I want to please allow me, Dennis, to acknowledge the fact that our children are in Paris at the Olympics. Today, two of our athletes ran this morning. They both had some injuries, so they did not advance to the second round. But tomorrow, Emmanuel Matadi will be running in the 100 meters early in the morning at 5:45 a.m. Eastern time. But I want to say kudos to Team Liberia in Paris at the 2024 Olympics, and it's great to be here.
And it's great to have the mother of the Olympics, right?
And Olympian, yes.
Olympian mom.
Yes.
Thank you. And let me also remind you, before the show starts, we will do have a little rendition of Kwame Clement on ELTV Action News. At least you will say, let me say that for us but
Yes.
we'll get there. Let me welcome everywhere political analyst, Mr. J. Victor Nambi. Mr. Nambi is a diehard UPP partisan who spent some time with the CPP. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It's good to be here, and it is an honor and pleasure to welcome Professor Clement to the show, as well as Professor Balaze. For full disclosure, say it's my brother-in-law. We go way back, but he is a very bright and intelligent young man. So I'm glad that they're making, a foray into the legal education world. So I'm glad that they're here tonight. We'll talk about that. Blending, I'm sorry about the situation with our athletes. I hope, we get some redemption tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you. Let me also welcome the unabashed and unapologetic seditian, Mr. Jerome Gilman. He's also the host of On Point right here on Focus on Liberia. Mr. Gilman, welcome, sir. On mute, please.
I know you would like to divorce me from my UPP, Marcus Matthews sentiment, and I have to bring that in. I am an original UPPN, and then transverse. But anyhow, this particular show I wouldn't have missed. This is something that is like a dream come true, something that I have never thought would happen in my lifetime. And other than our independence, I would say this is the second most important social development in our lifetime that will pay dividend than anything else we have ever seen in Liberia. And it's an honor to have these two gentlemen here trying to see it the way we have seen it for a very long time. Thank you very much. We got to give you your flowers before you leave. You have done an exceptional work, guys, and kudos to you.
Thank you. Last and definitely not the least, let me welcome Dr. Clarence Pearson. He's the author and neo-progressive. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dra, for having me. Now, I just want to join the others to say this is historic for even myself. And I think I said this to Kwame, the veteran broadcaster, Mr. Clement. Look, listen, this is history, and we're going to remember this. And it's nice having you on the platform. And Mr. Balaze, nice having you on the platform also. It's also a history for us to be on the same platform with two distinguished sons of the soil. And I welcome our listener out there. And I'm looking forward for a good night.
Thank you, Dr. Pearson.
Thank you. By the way, Mr. Balaze is the son of the late Chief Justice Balaze, Emmanuel Balaze. I told him the story. We have a guy who he was the bigger sibling, beating the other kids. He was given discipline, so we named him Balaze. Up to today, we still call him Balazo. So welcome, sir. It's an honor to have the former, the late Chief Justice son with us.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you again. For
and let me again welcome Mr. Kwame. And if you don't mind, Mr. Kwame, how you used to introduce the action news? I want to hear that.
Well, I'm Kwame Clement reporting for ELTV Action News. First, the headline.
That used to be the time when we run to our TV. People used to take side who the fan of Kwame versus the fans of Charles Boyan, and it used to be a time, good time for us. But
Dennis, let me just add something quickly. And sometimes when growing up, we used to wonder, it's like, this man must be really smart. We didn't know about teleprompters or anything. It's like, how is he just reading and looking at us like that? And it was just amazing to see.
Blending, making don't let it mess you out, man.
By the time there was no teleprompter in Liberia, there was no teleprompter.
Yes.
No teleprompter. He memorized the thing, and
I know.
30-minute news. He gave it in 15 minutes. He's done, and we start clapping. But let's get into it. Let me start, by your opening statement, and which is we have the Liberian Law School. Why a law school at this time? Is it one of the why a law school? Why non-agriculture school, journalism school? All the problems that Liberia has that we are dealing with, that we're trying to solve. Why a law school at this time?
Well, Dennis, first say are lawyers. We're not farmers, we're not medical doctors. The area we know is the law. And why law school in the country, it was founded 70 years ago, 1954, when the population was, what, at most 1.5 million people. And 70 years later, we have 5 times the people we had then. Thousands more people graduate from college every year looking for opportunity to pursue their studies. And so the numbers speak for themselves. They make the case for the existence of another law school. Why lawyers? We may be biased because we're lawyers, but like I like to say, we live in a society that we say is governed by the rule of law. And nobody is more central to the workings of the rule of law than lawyers. If you think about it, if the government is going to enact a new legislation to deal with a particular economic, social, political problem, you need lawyers involved in drafting it. If the government is entering an agreement, you need lawyers drafting or reviewing the agreement. If we're entering treaties, the same thing. If we're talking about decentralization, if we're talking about economic and political reform, you need lawyers involved in the process. That's the nature of our society, a rules-based society. Even our private lives, you want to start a business, you want to do a partnership, you want to benefit from the property your parents have left you, you probably need the services of a lawyer. We could say more, but the point is lawyers are essential to the workings of our country. So it's not a question of whether we need more lawyers, it's a question of how we get the best competent lawyers to do the work they need to do. And that's where CNI comes in, all the other people who work in this new venture, the Liberia School of Law. And what we want to do is to have the resources, have the caliber of faculty, have the set of rules that will allow us to train a cadre of lawyers that will leave our school with first-rate competence. And like I say, law school is expensive. There's the opportunity cost. So we don't begrudge our students who want to go out and make money, but we're hoping too that our students, the way we train them, will leave our school inspired to go out and achieve ends that benefit society at large. We want to see our students working with civil society organizations, helping them to become more effective advocates of transparent and democratic governance. We want to see our students working with media organizations, helping them to improve their standards. We want to see our students championing causes that promote democratic governance and inclusive growth, economic growth. We want to see our students using their talents and abilities, like saying how not doing, to start new ventures, new businesses that create jobs and opportunities for Liberians. So put short, and let's say to chime in here, from our perspective, is the rationale for why we're doing this. That is the reason for why a new law school.
Mr. Balaguer, before you come in, let me add to that. What specific needs has the Liberian Law School come to address?
Well, we come to address the need for trained and competent lawyer. We've been saying I've been teaching law at the law school on a volunteer basis, not being paid anything, not even transportation. We don't complain because we volunteer for it, the Louis Underground School, our alma mater. And the process of teaching law over the last 7 years have led us to the conclusion, being that seeing and practicing law, that another law school will help overall, not legal education in the country, provide an alternative. I think we'll be better, and the other school will be better by our very presence. And our profession in lawyering, we come to this with some passion. We think we can pass on some of the skills we've gotten over the years to a new generation of Liberian lawyers. And we want to do it the way we think we can do it best. We want to bring the kind of resources to it that we think we can do it in the context of a new law school that we probably wouldn't be able to do if we're doing it with somebody else or doing it with existing schools. So again, that's the perspective from which we come to this.
Yeah, if I can just chime in, Kwame's response was pretty comprehensive, but again, 70 years, 80 years ago, 60 years ago, we used the Palava Hut to resolve conflict And at the time, there was the use of the paramount chief, the clan chief, the commissioners. But those things are fading away. Now we're moving towards a judicial system with magistrate courts, circuit courts, Supreme Court, and various other types of courts. So our law in Liberia says to become a judge, you must be a law school graduate. So that again created a need for an additional lawyers to train more lawyers. And earlier on, Kwame spoke to democratic governance and inclusive development. Those are essential tenets for building a just and equitable society. So what we set to do is to train lawyers in constitutional law, international law, to sharpen their skills in advocacy, okay, to speak on behalf of the poor, okay, to teach people so that they can understand the nature of human rights and human rights violation, to understand international law. And again, we live in a global community. We live in a global economy. Businesses now are interconnected. So we need lawyers who will assist, okay, in helping us with our international transactions, trade agreements, cross-border conflicts, and we're also part of international conventions and international communities, including the Mano River Union, ECOWAS, and we need representation there that have been trained to understand the law, to understand all the aspects of the law, so that we can be ably represented at international tables as well.
Thank you. Let's before I break in the rest of the panelists, let's talk about the cost, the curriculum, and the faculty, the administration as well. Give me a little idea about who you have on the team and the qualification, because it's very important. It was just a few years ago when President Sirleaf described the educational system as mess, where we see, at the university, you see undergraduate teaching undergrad. So let's talk about the cost of the school. You talk about your curriculum, your program, if there are some concentration, and the quality of your faculty.
Yeah. So let me begin with talking about the faculty. Maybe Kwame may not want to talk about himself, so I will be the one to do it. We have a team. We have assembled a team of professionals proven in the practice and teaching of law. So I will start with my president, Kwame Clement. Most Liberians know Kwame as a broadcast journalist, okay? Prior to the war, that's what Kwame did. But Kwame also went to law school, okay? After completing, and then with the coming of 1990, we had to flee the country. And then Kwame left and went to America. And then Kwame, on the strength of the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law, Kwame took the bar exam in New York and made a pass. Kwame practiced for many years with one of the largest antitrust law firm, not only in America, in the world, okay? And he was one of the lead counsels at Arnold Porter, one of the largest antitrust law firm in the world. And then he left after so many years of practice, successful practice at Arnold Porter. He also worked for the Security and Exchange Commission in DC as senior counsel. Kwame also served in Colorado. He clerked for Supreme Court judge in Colorado, appeals court judge in Colorado. So Kwame will be he's going to be the president of LSL. So that's what he brings to the table. In addition to Kwame, we have the former Chief Justice of Liberia, in the person of Chief Justice Francis Koppa, who served on the Supreme Court bench for about 20 years. Okay, he served from the rank of Associate Justice to the rank of Chief Justice. So he's on our team, and we're happy that we have such a talent and a wealth of experience associated with us. Who can talk about Liberian law better than, Justice Francis Koppa? And then we have other, luminaries. in the person of one of them is Liberia Warner, the immediate past dean of the Liberia School of Law. He has a very successful corporate practice. He graduated from Cornell in Utica, and he's authored many legislation and statutes. And we also have on our team, again, I'll make myself the last. Okay, we have a Boykai Dukle. He holds 2 masters in law. Currently, he works for the Elections Commission as a commissioner. He did environmental and human rights law at University of Virginia in Charlottesville, one of the top 10 law schools in America. He also clerked in Michigan for George and taught at one of the universities in Michigan. And then we have 2 other visiting faculty from Yale University. Paul Mendel served as senior editor for the Yale Law Review. And he also taught George Washington University. He taught law at George Washington University. And then from Yale also we have Lucas, not the Richard Lucas you know from Liberia, who was associated with, that scandal. There's a different Richard Lucas. This one is from Yale. He served as president for the economic review at Yale. He's also an attorney. We have P. Gussie, who served on the Supreme Court bench as well.
Mr. Balaza, do these people have teaching experience, teaching at that level?
Yes, Kwame and myself bring 7 years each to teaching. Boykai Dukle, Commissioner Dukle, has teaching experience from the States. Professor Nibadi Warner, he did not only teach and continue to teach, he also served as dean of the law school. Councillor Kokwa taught civil procedures in addition to being Chief Justice of Liberia with all the business schedule. He has passion for the law, and he's taught law. And then let me talk about myself. I have wide experience in the DC metro area, DC, Virginia, and Maryland, where I practiced the business of insurance operationally. I got recruited on an executive basis to go to Hartford, Connecticut, and I served as assistant vice president and consultant at One Beacon Professional Insurance in the medical malpractice division. So I bring my law not only with knowledge, but I bring it with the operational skills. I also did 5 years in the Wall Street district with American brokers. So that's what I also bring to the table. And I've taught the Liberia School of Law 7 years. I've served in the capacity as program director in a company in Virginia, program director for a company in Dallas, Texas, and I serve as CEO for Activa International Insurance, a company that I took from the bottom and made a market leader. So yes, in terms of experience, our professors, the team we have assembled, are not only people who have earned LLM or JDs, they have proven experience, proven record in the market. So again, you can go and our students can give the testimonials as to the quality of people we are. So yes, we have assembled a big team, and we are also making room for very young people. We have a student that Kwame and myself taught in the person of Faustina Gongba. He's a young fellow. He graduated from the Liberia School of Law. He is in Cleveland, Ohio, went to Cleveland State University, graduated LLM, top of his class, and then took the bar on first sitting and made a pass. So many of the folks on our team are also in the United States of America. So that's what we're bringing.
Quickly touch on the cost and the curriculum,
Yeah,
let me come in there quickly and say, in terms of the curriculum, and she so brilliantly, talk about our professor, but let me just chime in. We're very lucky a little bit on that, to have been able to get Chief Justice Copper to join us. And he obviously isn't doing this for the money. When I went to talk to him, he said, Kwame and say, I know too much Liberian law to be sitting down and I use in the teaching. And we were trying to devise this elaborate program that we call the Chief Justice Chair. Somebody want to do special that he can come and teach a course he designed about the Supreme Court. He said we can talk about that one later on. I want to teach civil procedure, and that leads me now into our curriculum. Civil procedure is one of the foundational courses of the law. The procedure by which you take a civil case through the court, and then we have property, contracts, torts, then legal ethics. Those are what we call foundational courses. And then second year, we build on that with corporations, evidence, and the like. So we have the run-of-the-mill courses that a typical law school will offer. But we're doing something else too. We want to bring a interdisciplinary approach to the study of law, because law doesn't exist in a vacuum. You operate within the milieu, the societal milieu. So we want to expose our students to courses like the political economy of Liberia. They got to explain how things work, why things work the way they do in Liberia, why we don't achieve the kind of development goals, how the political economy of the country explains that. I think it's good for a lawyer to come with that kind of understanding. We'll have a course on the traditional legal systems of Africa, because here there's these two systems exist together, how they reinforce each other, how they can be compatible. We want our students to have a grasp of that. We want to look at the British common law in Africa. The British common law is what we use in Liberia because we got it through the Americans. And a lot of other countries in Africa that are British colonies, Ghana, Nigeria, they also use the British common law. How that law has developed, how it impacts what we're doing today. The economic history of Liberia, the history of and we got a good course there on political parties and governance. There are a lot of Supreme Court cases dealing with conflict between political parties. And we think this is good to have students come prepared with this understanding as they go into the practice of law. So that's the kind of new thing we bring in. Also, we want to prepare our students to sit the bar exam. We don't want you to just graduate, because they will be our best ambassadors. And then they can do well on the bar exam. That's good for us. So we want to, when you graduate, we put you through a course at our own expense that prepares you for the bar exam. But not only that, we want to prepare our students to take the bar exam in the United States. Certain states in the United States allow you to take the bar exam if you graduate from what is called a common law country. But the bar, they are tough. I did that, like say, on the strength of my Louis underground education. I took the New York bar, one of the toughest bar, and passed. We got this young student states talking about Faustina, who's just sat the Ohio bar and passed. So we'll come to this with the knowledge of U.S. bars, how to prepare our students to take the bar in, say, New York or California, put them through the course. And so if they want to go there, they can take the bar pass, and then they're eligible to practice law in the United States if they choose.
How about Ghana, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Sierra Leone? Do you have the...
Yeah, well, you see, we can prepare them too, but those countries, the reason why we did, like Liberia, to practice law in Liberia, you got to be a U.S. a Liberian citizen.
Yeah.
And so those countries might have their own restriction, we see, but we know for sure. Now, when you graduate from our law school, you have enough knowledge to practice law in Ghana, but the second thing, will they allow you to their bar? And that's something else. We got to look at those countries in particular. Yeah. What we know about the United States definitely is that if you graduate from a common law country, from an accredited law school, certain states like New York and California will allow you to take the bar. And we want to train our students to do that. So let me pause for that. We'll come back to more what we're looking at. I wanted to touch on our emphasis on technology. If you visit our library, we have computers, because most of our resources will be online. We have subscribed to what is called Westlaw. Westlaw is the most advanced, most extensive, most sophisticated database of legal materials. See, our students have real-time access to Supreme Court of the Supreme Court. By course in the European Union, the United Kingdom, they will have access to all of the legal research materials in those countries. They will also have online access to Liberia decisions by Liberia Supreme Court and the Liberia Court of Law. But that's the kind of thinking we bring into this, and the feedback we've been getting so far very good. And it's been tough, hard work, but I think we like where we are at the moment.
Tuition, and then I bring in Victor. The cost.
Well, I like to say about it, law school is expensive. Our application, you have to sit the LSAT. It's $175 to sit the LSAT. The credit hours, we're going to be price competitive. Most graduate schools in Liberia charge about $200 per credit hour, so we'll be about that range. And that's of course not what we're looking at in terms of the application to sit the LSAT and the credit hour.
Glendy, let me bring in my colleague before I. Glendy, any question for our LSL?
So I think like I want to go back to what Mr. Gaiman said. I think this is something that should have happened many years ago, and I think our forefathers, if they could have an inkling of what's going on right now, they would be extremely proud. And I think I'm also proud, coming off the backdrop that my father was a lawyer, to hear that there's going to be another law school competitive to Louis Arthur Graham School of Law is something commendable. But as I listened to name all of the instructors, I didn't hear a woman.
Well, yeah, there is a woman,
Yeah.
Lucia Obala.
Okay.
She's on our staff, and we will continue to recruit. So we make sure we have a balance.
Yes, I think for me that would be the first thing, is to see how you can have some gender balance. All of these men teaching, signifying that women too are not great lawyers to become teachers. For me as a woman, I want to put that out there first, that we need to be able to look at that. Yeah.
Lenny, your point is well taken. Your point is very well taken, and
Thank you.
we do have a very excellent female on the staff now, Lucia Bala, who's used to be the managing partner of the Heritage Law Firm, and is now there one of the senior partners.
Okay. So my first. Yes, thank you so much, and I will be following on that, because I will become a critic if you don't get more women. I'm just saying that up front. You already know. So I want to ask, when you made the decision to do this school, I want to tell us a little bit about. I heard, I want to hear exactly what you decided will be a contrast to Louis Arthur Graham School in your school, that people can look towards and say this is a better school to go to, or this is something that's going to appeal to the young Liberians to be able to come to our school.
Well, let me say something about that before Kwame comes in. The first thing, we want to let you all know that we are all products of the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law, and we owe gratitude to the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. That's where we were molded, and we receive our foundation from the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. What we are trying to do here is not to draw contrast. We can't do that because we are a product of the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. And by our output, you can attribute some of our successes to the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. So our approach is not to draw contrast. We have a foundation, and what good leaders do is to build on foundations. And we believe competition is good. Competition is good for the country. Competition is good for academia. And all competition does is it strengthens everybody. How can we do better? We believe that's what competition does. Competition also promotes excellence. Okay? And then when you promote excellence, then you are in position to attract the best professors, the best talents, and the best resources. So what is different here is our approach. We are in no position to contrast, because Louis Arthur Graham is a very good school as well. They build a foundation for us, and we're building on the foundation they've built.
So what distinguishes you from your competition, if I can put it that way?
Well, Kwame spoke to turnkey technology. Westlaw is a virtual library, okay? But what Westlaw does, it exposes you to other international statutes, regulations, treaties, and it's real time. Real time. Let's take, for instance, when the Supreme Court of the United States of America decided the case on immunity from Donald Trump, I do have access to Westlaw. Real time. Within minutes, I was able to go there and read the holdings of the Supreme Court, and also the dissenting opinion of Sotomayor, and then able to intelligently discuss it. So it gives you an edge. Our students will have an edge because of the exposure to Westlaw.
And that Westlaw doesn't have Liberia in it, right?
Well, Liberia has its own resource called LegalCell, where they've compiled all of Liberian cases and statutes. But what is happening to that tool is that is not updated. But you can find laws in there and cases up to, I think, maybe 3-4 years ago.
Let me just come here. Let's see. We don't see ourselves standing in opposition to Louis Arthur Grant. We think there's enough space in this country for more than one law school. What we're going to do, look, we want to run an institution saying that we think can be more than just a law school. We want to run an institution that can be an exemplar for Liberians. How you run an institution professionally, efficiency, with standard. So we're looking to do more than run a law school. But we can only do the things we want to do, bring all the little ingredients. If we do this the way we want to do it, and we have some thinking, and that is what has led us to this. And in terms of differently, I think she has mentioned some of the things, like I don't think there any school in Africa, not Louis Arthur Grant, that really has, or in the world that really has a program to prepare students for the U.S. bar. We're unique in that we have on our staff people who've done that. We want our students engaging in original research, top-notch legal scholarship. We'll be publishing a law journal where our students will be analyzing Supreme Court cases. Are they rightly decided? We respect the code and what the code says the law, but the point of legal scholarship is to be able to look at Supreme Court decisions and critically analyze them. That kind of thing we want to have our students doing. We want to have lecture series on the rule of law, on democracy and governance, not just teaching law, but we're having lecture series that we can invite the public to, and ambassadors to, where Liberians are discussing rule of law issues, approaches to more enhanced democratic governance. So there's a range of things we want to do. And at the end of the day, it is not I'm saying it here today. At the end of the day, our track record, the performance of our students when they leave the school will be the best testament to what we're doing and whether we are succeeding in what we're trying to do.
Victor.
Hello?
Yes. Thank you, Dennis. And again, professors, welcome. It's good to be here with you guys here. When I made my introduction here, I did mention how Professor Balaji and I are related, but my wife just reminded me I didn't say in specific terms. So my wife is, who is his sister, is the current vice president of EULA. And the inauguration is going to be here in New Jersey on September 27th. You're all invited. Okay, haven't got that out of the way. I most of the questions I had have really been addressed. Don't we already have enough lawyers in the country? I think the argument that has been made that although we do have the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law, we just want to give students the added advantage of choice. I think that alone is laudable. But in the presentation, I listened to Professor Clement. He spoke about educating students to contribute to the democracy, the democratic process. I heard him talk about there will be a course on political parties. And so I'm taking that and trying to juxtapose that on what the both of them did during the early days of this government. There was so much debate over tenure and not tenure positions. I believe that consumed pretty much all of the effort for the first 2, 3, 4 months of this government. And so the two of you authored, op-eds, which a lot of us referenced here on this show. And I thought that was very helpful. I am not sure if any lawyer did that during the process. So I guess my question is there going to be an attempt, a deliberate attempt to kind of nudge the students towards democratic, not, you know, activism, but just being active in a democratic space. As you did, for instance, the timely release of the op-ed by the both of you proved to be very helpful, in my opinion. So, is that something that is in the works somewhere down the road?
Well, when you look at
Oh,
our website, okay, when you go to the homepage, the first thing you're going to see there is training lawyers to promote democratic governance and inclusive development. Our website is www.liberiaschooloflaw.com. So we believe lawyers play a very critical role in advancing social justice, protecting individual rights, promoting equity, upholding the rule of law that Kwame spoke about extensively. And then there are many communities that are marginalized also in the decision-making process. So basically, we will be training our lawyers to be active in advocacy, conflict resolution, and basically that all individuals will be able to participate and benefit from our social economy. So to answer your question, yes, we will be training our lawyers, and in being protected by academia, we will be periodically and consistently coming up with academic write-ups, publications, as we have started. And we're going to have a law journal that is going to be on a quarterly basis. And we're going to take Supreme Court cases. As you all know, Roe versus Wade, with changing time and circumstances, it was the majority opinion, but then it was overturned. So with changing time and circumstances, we will take Supreme Court decisions that were rendered 10 years ago. We'll even take my father's decision that was rendered 10, 15, 20 years ago, and take a second look at them and say, hey, with changing times and circumstances, will these holdings from the Supreme Court, given the time, will they hold water? So basically, that's what we're going to be doing. We want to be a transformational discipline. That's the role we want to play.
Thank you.
Yeah, look, listen, let me come in here. What you mentioned speaks to what we want to be about: legal scholarship. Law schools in America, universities in America, professors got to write. You got to do research. You got to publish peer review articles. And what you saw me and Sid doing with the articles we wrote is what we're going to be continuing doing at the school. Legal scholarship, taking issues that are relevant and analyzing them, legal issues, and sharing perspective on them, educating the public, and legal scholarship. And we're going to instill that in our students. And like I say, I think we have a core here. When they leave our school, they will be inspired, not just to go make money as lawyers, but we're hoping that they can be change agents. And you know, let me just come back again to this thing about, you know, about the law. You know, it is not for naught that when you look at the US, many major corporations are headed by lawyers, many major think tanks are headed by lawyers. A good deal of American senators are lawyers. A good number of American presidents have been lawyers. Maybe I got a bias because I'm a lawyer. The law trains you in a way that perhaps no other profession trains you. You take a set of facts and you must quickly understand that mass of facts and then get to the core of the issue. What is the legal issue this present? But you must quickly understand the particular matter you're dealing with. Sometimes you got to understand a whole new industry if that's what the issue is about. And then you got to understand all of that and quickly say, what is the legal issue presented here? And once you find a legal issue, then you got to find the answer by doing the research. You know, when you think about it, much every day in life, we're confronted with problems. Now we got to say, what is the problem here before you go and find a solution? It's just that lawyers, by our training, we have an edge on it because our training forces us to look at set of facts and zero in on the legal problems that are being presented and then find solution for it. And so with a legal degree, you don't have to go in a court to practice law. You don't have to go in a corporate office to practice law. You know, you can use your legal training in a variety of areas, the skills you've gotten and how to digest huge amount of material, analyze them, and reach reasoned conclusion. And So we think people leaving our school will be well placed to work in various sectors of the Liberian society, producing positive results given the kind of training we give them.
Thank you. Mr. Gaiman.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen, scholarly men. Uh, the business, I got several questions, but I'll limit it to two for now. About 7 years ago, I was at Florida State University Law Review. They had a symposium. And one of the presenters said that she was sent to Liberia to help the legal system establish a public defender system. And she said when she went, they began the process of giving an exam. And she said I think about 79 students from the Arthur Grant Law School took the exam, and all 79 failed the exam. She says she thought that these people could not write a simple brief. I laid this premise to say you have a lofty goal. The population, your demographics, do you think you will have enough students that can take the LSAT, pass it, to enroll into your program? Are you being too, maybe it's a lofty goal, but I'm telling you what the folks say. Like you said, when you were growing up, when you guys were in school, you had top-notch education from all the high schools in the country. That is no longer there. How will you groom students to that level to enter the law school?
Okay, let me chime in before Kwame comes in. You spoke to public defenders, right? You said the exam was administered to public defenders.
No, she went to develop the public defender system.
So yeah, so people who took the exam were people who were interested in becoming public defenders, I would assume.
I suppose, yes.
Okay. You see, like anywhere, you have good outputs and you have bad output. You have good students and you have bad students. We Arthur Grimes has produced students that have gone to Cornell and graduated top of their class in New York University. They've gone to Harvard, they've gone to Yale, and they've gone to so many top-notch universities. The young man we spoke about went to Cleveland State University, was settled and graduated with the highest average. So like anywhere else, you have the best, you have the middle, and you have the bad. And then, you know, public defenders, who is the public defender, that group, who is it attracting? Is it attracting the cream de la cream? Is it attracting guys who just made it? Okay, so to use that as a measure to judge, you know, the Lee Arthur Grimes School of Law product, I think that would be a little bit unfair and skewed because that doesn't represent the population of the Lee Arthur Grimes School of Law. We've seen, you know, the complete opposite of what you just described. Okay?
No, it's not.
Students who have gone and performed very well.
Yeah, excuse me. It was. I'm not saying this about the Arthur Grant. I'm talking about the student population that you, because what you, like you say, what you are saying here, it's so beautiful, and I'm glad. I hope that it happens. But how do you prepare those students to achieve, to enter your law school? Especially, I know a lot about the LSAT, to pass the LSAT. How do you prepare these students to do this? That's what I'm saying. It's not about the Arthur Grant Law School. It's about our student population.
Well, again, we have many talented students in Liberia who have not had the opportunity. And some of them, of course, did not have the foundation. We've taught, Kwame and myself, we taught the law school for 7 years each. And we are amazed by the kind of talents we see at the law school. And certainly, you will have the best students, you will have the middle, and you'll have the worst. But we do have talented students, and we do have high schools that are preparing students. Again, the whole thing about school is, you know, you should have a sense of purpose. Why are you going to school? To learn? You have some people who are going to school to learn. You have some people who are going to school to hold a diploma. And you have some people who are going to school to hold a degree. But the folks who are going to school to learn, they are learning. And based on our experience in Liberia, we can safely conclude that you have a lot of talented students who have the aptitude to become great lawyers. So I'll pass it on to Kwame.
Yeah, I say thank you. You know, when in a state, you hear about Liberia, and you just think, everything is upside down, and I mean, and there's some justification for that belief, but when you come on the ground, we had the same thing. I thought all the students didn't know anything, from being removed where you hear 15,000 students take the entrance, 15,000 fail. And you come with that notion. But once you get here, let's say, you begin to see the talent. And I said, but you know what? There's the same society that produced me. Why they can produce people that, that like me or that like say or that like you guys. Not true. The warriors damaged the school system. There was a shortage of trained teachers. So that had an impact on the quality of students being produced. But there are, like she said, there are smart Liberian students in my law school class. I can name them: Seydou Nye, Samuel Hare, Chero Yekula, Ashton. I forgot Ashton last name. I mean, and they're not few.
That's not Amma.
I mean, the intellectual firepower in that class, my constitutional law, Liberian kids. Yeah, the smart kids here, guys. Don't underestimate. This is the same society that produced her. Yeah, it went through some trouble because of the war. But we have a system too. You're right. We got to make sure people who bring in have the aptitude. So we're going to give a rigorous LSAT, and you got to pass it now. We made a decision. We've invested time and resources in this effort, and we've studied the market and our method to believe that we can find students capable and willing to pay. If that doesn't happen, then our business model will go bust and probably will lose the investment we've made. But I think we will be able to find competent students capable of passing. Our very rigorous. Our LSAT are going to have a logical reasoning section. They're going to have a reading comprehension section. They're going to have a vocabulary section, and then they're going to have an essay section. 3 hours. You're going to sit there, do that exam, and then we're going to take the best performing students. Quantity, we're looking for quality. We've said to ourselves, if we can get 50 students that can pass the bar, capable of pass the entrance, we'll be happy for our first year. 50. We think, again, everybody know people who go into education, you're not going there to make money rapidly. That's why most of us grew up to be wealthier than our teachers and professors. So this venture we're in, we're hoping that if we can generate enough income from the tuition our students pay to pay our staff, pay our faculty, pay our rent, pay our generator bill, and something small left over, we'll be happy. And we think 50 students is not bad to start with. And if we can get, and we think we can find competent, qualified 50 students to begin our first class and build on that.
Thank you. Clarence.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis, Mr. Ja, and again, welcome again to Mr. Balaze and Mr. Clement. I have a couple of questions because I'm feeling like the boy in the video who saw the chief pass by and he wants to get everything one time. So maybe you not see the chief again. So I just want to throw my questions as best as I can. Now we noticed that Louis Arthur Graham School of Law has been one of those areas that are made pretty difficult to enter. The University of Liberia in itself is difficult to enter, and the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law are even more difficult to enter. So my concern with your own institution, any of you can answer that, but do you have to have a first degree before you can enroll at the Liberia School of Law? Do you have to have a first degree, or can you go from high school straight into your program? Another question I have, anybody can answer that also. I observe that education, like in the United States here, is centered around career opportunities after you've graduated, because education is expensive. When you go to school and you graduate, you want to be able to work and get returns on your investment. And so my question to you is, before thinking of starting this new program, did you do any feasibility studies to show the executive capacity of Liberia environment for the students that will be graduating from your program? And if so, how do you intend to give them opportunities for employment to practice?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me begin with the degree, and then I will pass it on to Kwame to do the rest. Law school. Law school is a graduate school. It's a professional school. So certainly you need a degree to come to the law school. Same thing with America. You need, because it's a graduate school, you just can't come from high school and come and attend the law school. In our entrance process, we are not very tough on grade point average because we believe there can be many explanations as to why people perform poorly in school and did not make the 3 points and the 4 points. But what our focus is going to be on is the test of your aptitude, your analytical ability, your ability to comprehend. Okay, because we believe circumstances may have led some folks to graduate with 2.5 average, 2.4 average, 2.7 average. It doesn't mean they're not smart. It means that perhaps there were circumstances while they were in school that were beyond their control that impacted their performances. So to answer the question on law school is a graduate school, even though the degree that is given to folks that graduate from law school is a first degree, just like the medical school. When you go to the medical school and graduate, the first degree you get is an MD. MD is the first degree in medical science. Okay, to be a medical doctor, your first degree is MD. So the first degree in law is LLB/JD, which is Juris Doctor. Okay, and then I already talked about grade point average, and then you talk about the difficulty in entering LU. LU at the time, uptown, Liberia School of Law is the only law school in the country up to the time that we established this school. So certainly you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people wanting to attend the Liberia School of Law, but it doesn't have the capacity in terms of space. So certainly there will be a high failure rate. Okay, so that shouldn't tell on the quality of people that are taking the law school or LSAT. It should speak to the capacity. How many students can we at the Liberia School of Law take at a time? So that's part of the reason why there may be. So necessarily, if you don't get admitted, it doesn't necessarily follow that you did not do well. Just that there has to be a threshold. It's possible that the threshold that was set because of the population, you did not meet that threshold. So let me turn it over to the president, Kwame, to speak further on the matter.
Well, I don't think there's much to add. There's some countries in the world, like for example, Britain. You just have a first degree from college, you go straight to law school, and some British colonies just like that. But even those institutes, those places, after you get that law degree from college, you got to go do extra work to then qualify as a lawyer. What the American system that we follow is based on, say, look, and I think they're right. The law is demanding, and we think students will perform better in understanding the law if they come to it with a first degree. And some former British colonies are seeing the wisdom of that. Ghana requires you to have a first degree before you go to law school there. And I think it makes sense. Studies have shown that people who do better at law school are older students. Again, they bring life experience that will help them develop their analytical, logical reasoning skills, and so they do better at law school. Law school is not memorization, it's more analysis. So that's why we require in Liberia and other countries a first degree. And I think it's a good thing. Look, we've got people already started applying on our website. You know, our website, www.liberiaschooloflaw.com. You can go on there and fill the application form and send it in. You just online submit it. And most of that information comes to us real time. Already from the few people that are applying, because we got a little writing, we asked them to submit a little writing, 250 words. You know, a good number. I read their writing and they write well. And that's one of the tests of a good lawyer. Because to write well, you got to think properly in your head. Because, you know, writing is putting your thoughts down on paper. And what I'm seeing there already, you know, I mean, it's not a full, it's just a few of them who started applying. I can tell you off the bat, and I'm impressed by what I'm seeing in terms of their writing ability. I think it speaks, you know, I want to say something about the resilience of the Liberian people and the young people. Yeah, they've been through a hell. You know, I left here when the war started. I didn't go through it. They've been through hell. They live in a system that was virtually torn apart, the social fabric destroyed, the basic infrastructure destroyed, you know, violence, and the extent to which they picked up, you know, it's something remarkable, and I think deserve credit. For those of us who's been in the state and being removed, you know, the extent to which people picked up, a ton of problem, but given the immensity of the problem they face in the country, the extent to which they picked up and move along really speaks to the resilience of the Liberian people. I think that's something we should keep in mind when we're discussing Liberia.
Thank you. And we got even questions already in our comments. Let me bring in Thomas Kanner. Thomas is our public financial management practitioner, soon to be FOL resident economist after a week when I will give him that certificate. Tom.
Thank you, Dennis. Hi to the two guests that we have today. I actually just joined to celebrate them. Like I said, I think I mentioned this on the previous show that we had. I think to me, the establishment of this law school is a testament of the progress that we are making as a country. There are a lot of bad things that happened during the war. It's 20 years. We are not 100% satisfied with the progress that we're making, but there are good things that are happening. And I think the establishment of this law school is one of them. Like everyone has said, I think competition, especially for us who read economics in the market, is the one that improves quality. So I just want to say congratulations to, I normally call him Kwame, Mr. Clement. Pabe.
Yeah, Pape, yeah.
What did people say?
It was a winter.
So I just got one question, because I mean, when I read the press statement that was published, two keywords that I took, and you all have spoken about it: to contribute to governance and to contribute to inclusive development. Not only development, but one that is inclusive. So the only question I have for you, or maybe the first question I have, is that, like you said, you've all been at Louis Arthur Graham. You've taught there for many years. Did you see or notice a gap in the way your students that you graduated from Louis Arthur Graham contributed to governance and inclusive development, for which you want to improve under this new school? And if that wasn't done on at the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law, do you think that just changing the location or environment can be able to help you improve on this?
Yeah, let me comment on that. And let me quickly pivot first to the question whether the demand for lawyers. Look, again, say I've taught. I go out and I see people coming to me, hi, prof, and I don't remember them because I've taught quite. But I ask them what you do, and they all are working. They work in regulatory agencies. They are maritime. They are NACO. You know, they are the FDA. They're working with private companies. They're in the law of the legal section of Orange, of Lone Star, of ArcelorMittal. Like I said, we live in a society that needs law. We run on the law. Everything we do is law-based. And so you need lawyers. And the students I see from Louis Arthur Graham that went through our courses are gainfully employed. You know, some of them start their own practice, or they work with law firms. There's several students now working the Warner law firms and other law firms at Twer and Pierre and Twer and ton of firms. So, like I said at the beginning, I don't think the question is whether the need for lawyer. I think the question is whether how we can meet the demand for qualified lawyers. In terms of what I saw at Louis, I've seen students at Louis Arthur Graham who've gone on to do good work. There's a smart guy we have called Gerald Yakula, who left and was doing practicing law at the Warner Law Firm, the Heritage Partners, making good money. He left it to go and work with they call him it's a transparency of Chantel. Lower pay. There's a watchdog organization, that checks government for corruption. He left a well-paying job and went there because what he wants to promote accountable governance. So yes, some of them are doing it, but we think more can do it. We think we can inspire more to do it. And I keep on saying, I don't want us to be seen as in opposition to Louis Arthur Graham or we adversarial with them. And we just want to run a school that we think we can run well and achieve good results. And so again, yeah, we've seen some students under Louis Arthur Graham who've gone into taking lower pay to fight for accountable governance. But we think we can inspire even more of them to do that kind of thing and train them even more to do it in the school we're about to launch.
There's a question here from Mansfield Group. Will your school offer online courses for folks like us who live outside Liberia?
No. Law school, we do the Socratic method. I want you in my class, let me look at you, and we discuss the case. I want you to brief the case. I want to engage you. So, legal education, I know there's some schools that do this online thing, even some few law schools in America. But legal education, we want you in the class with us. So unfortunately, now who knows down the road whether we might be doing that, we revise our policy and look at it to see whether it makes sense. But we're not offering online courses.
But will you offer online teaching? Let's say I'm in the States here, I want to teach. Is that possible? Will you teach, online education? Can I be here in the States?
In the class. Yeah, well, look, we tried the online thing during COVID, and saying we taught, there were no school, people, so we taught online. It's convenient. You can stay home and teach. But once COVID was over, everybody realized the need to get the students back in the classroom facing their teachers. So our preference would be for our teacher and our students to be in the same classroom and engaging. Say mentioned some visiting professors we have, both two of them graduate Yale Law School, seating practitioners. They will be coming us to teach. We are physically, so our students get engaged. And we don't rule out the possibility of online thing down the road, but for now, we want to focus on being physically present in the classroom.
Sam Wallace said, just so we know, why couldn't this advanced legal training have been built into the curriculum of the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law? Since these funders are all products of the school. And look, I think Councillor Nibali Warner, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, all from Louis Arthur Graham School, in fact, they were teaching there. So Sam Wallace is asking, couldn't you do this with the Louis Arthur Graham School? Why do you need something separate? That's what he's asking.
Well, if I can begin, Louis Arthur Graham School of Law is part of the University of Liberia and governed by the University of Liberia Board of Trustees. It's a government institution, and our own institution is a private institution. So can we make changes? Well, we made our own impact by the lectures we provided to students who sat under us, benefited from our knowledge and expertise. But to the person who's asking the question, do you really believe two people can change the University of Liberia from outside as adjunct professors? We hope we could, and we did in our own way. by offering, knowledge to the students we taught. But can we, outside of the Graduate School of Law, do what we envisage, being able to carry out our mission, carry out our vision? Can we do it more effectively within the Graduate School of Law with all the bureaucracies, or can we do it as a private entity? And we believe we've already made some impact there, but we can make even more impact with our private institutions where we have, control over what happens, absence of politics. So let Kwame chime in on that.
While Professor Clemens coming in, just let me add a little bit back to the virtual learning. Are there any plans to expand beyond Monrovia? We know Louis Arthur is heavily concentrated in Monrovia.
Well, for now,
in the future, but it's part of our plan. What we will be doing now will be offering the exam, not only in Monrovia, our entrance exam. We are planning to offer it in Ganta and in Harper. Ganta will take care of people in the central region, northern region. Harper will take care of people in the southeast. Monrovia will take care of the rest of the people. But it is in our plan to, see if we can establish at least an extension, a satellite campus in say Ganta that has a large population. But let's get our sea legs, started with this tough and difficult thing. And that's what we not to pivot. Let me pivot to the question that,
Okay.
Sorry. I want to pivot to the question I said. And look, Louis Arthur is a fine school. And I keep on saying our raison d'etre, our reason for being is not to be in opposition to Louis Arthur Grant. We just think there's some room for another law school in the country, and to meet the demand, and and that we got some unique sets of abilities and talent that we think we can put into this venture and make it a good law school. And we also proceed from the premise that a second law school is good overall for legal education. It will make us better because we know that some again, I think it will make them better. But again, and this is important, we don't see ourselves as opposition to Louis Arthur Grant. We don't want to be seen as critics. We just want to start a law school and run it well and train good lawyers. And we hope Louis Arthur Grant will continue to do so.
Thank you. I know we had you for 1 hour. Its time is almost over. We don't want to keep you too long.
Dennis, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, hold on. Your mission statement said to offer training comparable to that provided by top-ranked law schools in the United States and other parts of the world. There's too much emphasis on the United States, right?
But don't we say other parts of the world?
Yeah, but you started with United States. I don't see you talk about ECOWAS, right? I'm coming. To what extent will you localize your curriculum? There was a speaker who said we have a colonized school system. To what extent? That's why when you are, nobody told me why in Pakana oil, Tawagi oil, we're talking about fish liver oil. To what extent are you going to localize your curriculum so that what is taught there solve problems that are unique to Liberia?
Look, good question. And I just gave you something on our curriculum. We're going to be looking at political parties. We're going to be looking at political economy. And those are not technically law courses, but we deliberately brought them in because we think it's best for our lawyers to have interdisciplinary knowledge. Political economy of Liberia, political parties, and governance, the Liberia traditional legal system. But, you say, why the U.S.? Whether we like it or not, the U.S. is the dominant player. Whether we like it or not, our country history is inextricably linked to America. Our legal system is premised on American legal system, just legal system were premised on British legal system, and there's nothing wrong with that. American legal system is fine. The rest of the countries in Africa, we say, okay, why we don't say that education in other African countries? A lot of countries around us here, Guinea, Ivory Coast, they're based on the French legal system, the civil law, not the common law system. The other African countries around us, Ghana, Nigeria, their system based on the British legal system. For better or worse, our law's legal system based on the American legal system. And culturally, the historical cultural ties that bind us America, for better or worse, they exist. So we're proud to say we want to offer legal education comparable to that offered by the American legal system. The American legal system, their law master's program, it exists for one and only one reason. You go to law school in America, the teachers who are teaching you, all of them, all of them got only one degree, the first degree, the JD. And then they clerk for a judge, they do some legal research. The American master's program is designed specifically for people from foreign countries who want the prestige of an American law degree. So they graduate from law degree, then they go to America for 9 months, get the LLM. Again, it speaks to the strength of the American legal system, the appeal of it, for better or worse. And so, we're proud to say we want to offer legal education that's comparable to offer by top national American legal law schools, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, George Washington, Georgetown. That's the standard we're setting.
If you don't mind,
go ahead. We need to.
If you don't mind, but Prof, don't
hold on, Clarence.
Yeah.
Thomas first, and so we can let them go. We over an hour with them.
Sorry if this question was asked, but considering that you were all lecturers at the Louis Arthur Graham, do you continue to intend offering courses there, or you are going to be full-time at the new school, fully committed to the new school?
Say that you're trouble.
Yeah, well, Kwame and myself, we just started this new school, so we have to commit all of our time and resources to the school. There are other professors there, it's their decision. They will decide what to do. But what we can tell you is that we're not going to divide ourselves such that it will be to the detriment of the students of Liberia School of Law. So other professors, if they want to share the time, we just want to be sure that the time that they have committed to Liberia School of Law, is time that we will live up to. We will give the students time and preparation that are deserving of the Liberia School of Law students. So there is no prohibition on them. But with Kwame and myself, maybe, if we find time, in the first year, are we going to find out time again? We have to begin to see what happens. He teaches some specialized course, constitutional law and torts. I teach a specialized course on insurance law. So certainly there may be a gap, but there are other young people coming up. Who knows? Maybe there will be somebody coming from the States with background and specialization in insurance law. But
thank you.
And
May I come in quickly?
We're giving Louis Arthur Grant, we're giving us 7 years without compensation, free. We volunteer our time, and we love every meaning of doing it. But this venture is going to be consuming us, and there's not a shortage of qualified people in Liberia to teach at both schools.
That's right.
May I come in quickly, Dennis? Gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm sorry, I didn't think we were
going to go straight to your question, Jimmy. Don't go to
very well. Kwame, good to see you again, my man. I got 2 questions for you quickly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Accreditation. How do you plan to get your accreditation? And then number 2, doesn't law school require incorporation and I guess a board of trustees and governance? How you plan to establish all that?
Well, firstly, we are accredited. If we weren't accredited, we wouldn't be here talking about this. See, I've been working on this since February.
By whom?
But you haven't seen us going public. We'll be working quietly because we weren't accredited. We got our accreditation about 3 weeks, about a month ago, and then we had to do some legwork before. So we've been accredited by the National Commission on Higher Education. If we weren't accredited, we wouldn't be doing it because then it would be a farce. And to be accredited, you got to be incorporated as an organization. And board of trustees, we are going to have a board of trustees. You have to have one. We have a preliminary one now. We're going to have a full one. But that's the short answer. We are accredited by the National Commission on Higher Education to operate a law school. It's a provisional accreditation, as the commission does, for 4 years. And then after 4 years, they come and check you, make sure you're complying with their standards, and then they make you permanent. So we have a provisional, like all new schools, we have a provisional accreditation for 4 years. In that period, we'll be able to put our first graduate class because of 3 years, and then we're moving on. So yeah, no, we are accredited.
Thank you. Glendy, you want to say something before we conclude, before we ask for your closing?
I was trying to come in, but you told me to wait for Connell. But yeah, Glendy, only female on the black.
Yeah, we got to close now because we unless you want us to stay with this and close on it, and we don't go through our.
I got 2 more questions for my profs before they go.
Glendy.
Roll on, yeah. Let it put up.
Yeah. I don't want to. Go ahead.
I actually looked at the website. I think it's pretty commendable. That I'm anticipating that this is going to be different. We trust the 2 heads here tonight that's doing this work, and to already have a website up and running is something good, and it's progressive. I want to ask specifically about the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice Pakpor, and I want to understand his interest in wanting to come and help your school. What do you think Liberians will have to say if he has not volunteered his services at Louis Arthur Graham School of Law, but he's now going to a private school?
Well, Glenny, Chief Justice Copper taught at the law school for many years. Okay, so he did provide services to the law school again on a pro bono basis. I think he took a semester of leave, but yes, he did provide services at the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. Just to make that clarification, we all thought that.
Let me just come in. He's teaching at another Liberian law school. He's not teaching at some foreign law school. He's teaching Liberian students.
I get that, but it's not a government school.
For precisely. So if somebody doesn't teach at Tottenham High and they teach at CWA, we're gonna hold it against them.
I'm just saying. I've asked that because I want to charge into the territory of what would Liberians think. He's just newly retired. We would think that he would give some services to the government school to help.
You did.
Well,
thank you.
I see many Liberians would say he's giving service to Liberia. He's teaching Liberian students, whether it's the government school or the private school. The point of the matter is he's serving Liberia.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Pearson.
Both of our distinguished professors. So we notice that education is pretty expensive when it comes to running a university, very costly. And now you are only, from what I hear, you are only focusing on law. Do you think without other discipline at the university or at the law school rather, you will be able to sustain this program going forward in the long term? And another concern I have is that in a bit to that, are you open to share ownership?
What does that mean?
Listen, what was the first part of the question? Whether we offer? No, the law school, we're only offering course in law. We're a law school, so we're not offering.
Right. So
okay.
That's sustainable.
Whether it would be financially sustainable, every business a risk. CNR for the last 7+ months, we haven't been working. We've lost income because we've been focused on this. We're putting, whatever 2 cents we have, and we've attracted other people to put, some funding in. So there is an element of risk. Even before we got our accreditation, we had to set up a school, a physical school, because the commission had to come and see it to qualify. We had to rent a space, divide it into classrooms, put air conditions in all our classrooms, put computers in our library. We're going to get a generator. And we're doing all of that not knowing whether we'll be approved. But that's a risk we're taking. That's what people do if you want to succeed at something. So at least the first part now, we got it approved. But the question is, Will it be financially viable? There is a risk it might not be, but we think. And let me just digress a little bit. One of the requirements for approving us, besides visiting our facilities and seeing that it met standards, besides reviewing our faculty, besides reviewing our curriculum, our student handbook policy, our financial policy, all of those we have to give to the commission to review. But besides all of those, we had to show that we had resources in the bank, money to sustain us for a year, 2 years of students' tuition. Again, the commission is right on that because many schools start hoping for students' tuition to sustain them. They don't get the tuition and then they close, they leave students in the lurch. So the commission requires that you show you do a financial sustainability plan to approve you. And we're able to show the commission that we could do that. So this is where we are. Will we succeed? Will it be profitable? Will we generate money? We think so. Again, I said the purpose here is not to get wealthy. You don't go into education. The purpose is the passion to teach, the legacy of what we're doing here. But we think having studied the market, having analyzed the market for law and legal education, having thought it through, and the products and services we want to offer, we think it's sustainable. But we never know until we go and try it, right? And if it doesn't work, I don't think we'll begrudge ourselves for having tried to do this, but we're convinced it can work. It's financially sustainable.
When you specialize, will student be be able to specialize, or they're going to be doing general law? Can someone go to your school and specialize in criminal law, immigration law, corporate law?
Like concentration.
Maybe I'll come in like all law schools, first degree. Law school offers a first degree. So in the first year of law school, you would do the traditional courses. That's the contract, the torts, the property, the civil procedure, so on and so forth. And then when you get to the second year, okay, you begin to have the opportunity to do some electives. Okay, so graduating from a law school with first degree will not make you a specialist, but it's going to expose you to the different, categories of law. For instance, domestic relations, maritime, insurance law, commercial transactions, children law, domestic relations law. So after you are introduced and have done some rigorous, cases in those areas, it will help to shape your mind as to which direction you want to go. Upon graduation, then you make a decision. After I have been exposed to all of these electives and specializations, which area do I want to go? Most of the time, specialization is in the practice. I became an insurance attorney because in my entire career, that's what I've done. I did MBA with emphasis in insurance risk management, actuarial science, and operationally, I have done major markets. And of course, what even made it better, I had a law degree. So by practice, I am an insurance attorney.
Yeah. So what are you offering? A JD or LLM or LLB? What exactly is the degree you guys will offer?
JD.
Well, we'll offer a first degree law. It's called LLB. We'll be calling it JD. That's what the commission approve us to do. But there's no technical distinction between the JD and the LLB. Both requires you to finish college first. And you look at the courses the law school do not do, even at Louis Arthur. Now I had the opportunity to go to law school both in the US and in Liberia.
Yeah, I attended your graduation, if you remember.
Yeah, I got the JD. But there's no technical distinction. You do the same thing, the same courses. It's just in the 1960s or so, the American legal system, they say, look, we're asking students to come and get a first degree. And then they come, we still saying bachelors of law. And so they elevated to what they call doctor of jurisprudence. So the student has spent 4 years in college, then they come and spend 3 years. It's just like what medical students do, and they call doctor. So they elevated the thing they call a juris doctor. But it's the It's the same thing. There's no technical distinction. Now, the LLM is the Master of Law. We're not offering that. We're offering a first degree in law. Was there something else to the question there? I might have lost my train of thought.
No, that's it. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Friday Night Debate, and we are in conversation with the leaders of the Liberian Law School. That's a new law school, private law school that is being established. It's not an opposition or an arch rival to the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. According to the founders here, we just need more than one law school because we have room for that. If you want to join the conversation, please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791403. We were supposed to do another, our topic, but by popular demand, we just continue with it because everybody wants to talk to Kwame and say. So let's do it.
Thank you.
My question here now is, it backs to, I want to go back to the whole curriculum. Liberia has a dual legal system where we're supposed to have statutory law and customary law, right? But we don't, outside of the legal system, because we don't hear much of the customary law being in the mainstream, right? I don't know if really people teach that at the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law, or how you're going to do that. And I'll give an example. We have our traditional school. Can these things be, the reason I said it not in the mainstream, because maybe we should have had a curriculum, the school curriculum that is not competing with the curriculum of the Sunday and Poro. Or if I pass away and God forbid, and my wife marries my cousin, all these things should be part of the legal system. How do you hope to teach that or to make that part of the curriculum so that people actually know our customary laws and they form part of our mainstream judicial system or legal system?
We have a course on our curriculum called the African Traditional Legal System. So we want to expose students not only to customary law in Liberia, but across Africa. And then juxtapose them against the legal system, the mainstream legal system, if you want to call it that. How do you reconcile differences? Now, Liberia recognizes the customary legal system. I think the only time there's some problem where the customary legal system with the mainstream legal system, of course, that take precedent, but we recognize the customary legal system. We recognize traditional wedding, and many other customary practices. The two systems exist hand in hand. Now, there's certain practices in the customary legal system that the mainstream legal system will, and I'm using the wrong word, mainstream, will find, for example, SASIWU. Evidence extracted by SASIWU will not be admissible in court in the legal system because that's going back to trial by ordeal. So yes, the two exist, and part of our purpose here will be to educate our students about the traditional legal system and how we can reconcile the practices with the mainstream, and how you can advocate for reform in the system that may enhance protection of human rights. I know you did a reference where the woman dies or her husband dies and she doesn't have access to her property and that kind of stuff. I think, and that's the kind of thing we want to train our students to do. How do you represent somebody like that? How do you advocate upon their behalf? More importantly, how do you make the legal argument that that kind of practice may be violating constitutional equal protection practice or constitutional right to property practice? So the short of the matter, it does present a very unique, interesting area for our students and us to explore the interaction between customary law and the modern mainstream legal system.
That is very
All right,
interesting.
let me bring in one caller right now. Everybody want to participate. Let me bring in Mr. Trogon Bayou. Trogon.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Clemens. The last time I met you was, I think it was 1999 in Maryland, a long time ago. At the late Reverend Lord's Donald Spinning right out there.
Yeah.
I want to applaud you guys for what you're doing. Liberia needs more than one law school. I disagree with people who say, oh, why you can't just do everything through the adult grants. I think we need more than one law schools in Liberia. But I'm a little bit concerned about the issue of accreditation. If you can just throw more, give more highlight on how your university or your school will be accredited, because we know in the past a lot of schools are open in Liberia that were not accredited by the Ministry of Education, and they were taking money from students. So if you can, talk more about the issue of accreditation, I would appreciate it more. And I'm concerned about the process of accreditation, because I remember I taught at a community college here when I got out of graduate school, preparing for trying to build up a curriculum later. And I know there are processes you go through for your school to be accredited. And I don't know how long you've been operating before you gain accreditation. So can you emphasize on something like that? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again,
And in addition to that, ranking, because I mean, when you look on the school ranking, you can't even find University of Liberia. So I don't know how you can do that too.
Well, let me take a shot at that and say, I think I spoke to the fact that we have been accredited by the National Commission on Higher Education. We're lawyers, and as much as people talk bad things about lawyers familiar with the law, and they know what happens when you break the law. So we wouldn't be out here talking about having a school if we're not accredited, because that would be breaking the law. We're accredited about 4 weeks ago by the National Commission on Higher Education. What the process, it's an exhaustive process, I'll tell you. It requires some money. We had to pay a $10,000 application fee into the government of Liberia account, not even to the commission. We had to go pay that money at the central bank. And then that's opened our door to applying. And we had to put together a sustainability plan that I talk about, showing our financial sustainability. We had to put together a student. We had to put together a financial policy plan. We had to put together a strategic plan. And then we had to devise a curriculum. Then we had to put for our faculty. Then we had to have a facility that the commission had to come and inspect and say, yes, this is conducive. I mean, they came there, walked through the classroom, and I think we satisfied in our library. And I think the commission had like 3 lawyers on the committee that were reviewing our papers. And so that's the process we went through. Put there were, other things, but essentially with the commission. And it took I think we applied in February, and we didn't get our approval, I think, till late June, July, so 4 months. But that's the process we went through. And then once we got our approval, of course, we visited the Bar Association to formally inform them. We got their blessing. We wrote the Supreme Court and visited the court out of respect for the judiciary, or the court as the head of the sector in which we operate, to formally inform them of what we're doing. And of course, we got their blessing too, I would say, or at least they're okay. At least we got their congratulations. Technically, the Supreme Court doesn't supervise legal education. It's the Commission on Higher Education. Now, when you graduate, when your law school graduate and they begin to practice, then they fall under the jurisdiction of the court. But we felt it was necessary that we inform the court of what we're doing. So that's the process we went through. And we are accredited. If we weren't, we wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't be asking students to come to us. And of course, if we aren't accredited, we'll take action against us, because we'll be breaking the law.
Let's talk about
let's get to some of the nitty gritty. What's the cost of school fees, so that students know what they're going to encounter when they apply?
Well, we'll be charging about $200 per credit.
I saw
per
on
credit hour?
your website,
credit hour, yes.
$175. I don't know.
No,
if
that, that's for the
Yeah,
that's for the LSAT.
LSAT.
Oh, the LSAT. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's $200 per credit. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
and that's
practicum. Let's talk about practicum, internship, and all that. Or will you be requiring people to maybe go in some part in the country and do some internship work before graduation? Let's talk about that a little.
no good question. And I think it pivot back to something somebody about asked here about this question say commenting on about specialization. We have what is called, one criticism of legal education across the board is that it put too much emphasis on theory. We have students sitting in the classroom for 3 years just learning substantive law. But lawyering is more than that. Huh? And like they said, when you really begin to practice law, when you begin to specialize, is when you leave law school and you go and start practicing. How do you write a complaint? How do you interview a client? How do you prepare a case file? Now, many people leave law school not knowing that, and it's a legitimate criticism. In fact, there's some theories now that maybe the third year of law school should be devoted exclusively to students outside practicing. So, and it's legitimate. So, what we've done in our curriculum is we put in clinics. Many law schools do that. Clinics mean our students will go out and do actual work as lawyers, working with lawyers, as public defenders, for example, taking cases in prison and don't have the means to defend themselves. So yes, we have a lot of legal clinics, and we have a course we call the Fundamental of Lawyering, and we want to teach it from first year through third year. And what fundamental lawyering is, don't forget, we don't say the fundamentals of the law. Fundamental of the law you will learn from the courses we teach you, but fundamentals of lawyering, you can only learn by working with experienced lawyers in the field. And so we have that course from our first year straight to our third year. And the goal is so that when our students graduate from law school, they're not green when it comes to the actual practice of law. They know what it is. And they may, the way I see it, to be fair, most of them will be in Monrovia, but we're sure we can get some of them to Ganta, to Banga, working with the county attorneys and that kind of stuff.
Thank you. Mansfield Duopo said, will your school grandfather in folks with extensive knowledge in other fields if they wanted to come to your school? For example, I have a 2 master's degree in public policy and development practice, development practice. Could I be grandfather sons going through some of the first set of courses, since some of the courses I did in grad school were a hybrid of law and public policy?
Hey, Mansfield, this is Saya. How are you? So to answer your question, the aptitude for law may be different from the aptitude of somebody who wants to become a medical doctor or philosopher. Well, you will be welcome, but you will be subject to LSAT. Okay, so we want to test the aptitude. We want to test your analytical skills. We want to test your comprehension within the context of the law, the way lawyers think. So yes, at a borderline situation, we'll take into consideration your 2 masters, your grade point average, how well you perform on the law school exam. But to grandfather you in because you have 2 masters or you have a PhD, and that is not going to be the case. You will have to take the LSAT. And if it is borderline situation, then we'll have to look at grade point average, your level of education, your level of experience, how much you've done, how many papers you've written or publications you've done, and then we'll make that determination. But no, a medical doctor, a PhD, or 3 masters holder will not be grandfathered into the program. You will have to take the LSAT.
Mr. Balazer, does the Louis Arthur Grimes School of Law requires the LSAT? Are you referring to the American LSAT?
Well, LSAT basically is, law school aptitude test. That's the name. So we will standardize ours, okay? Of course, following the format of the American LSAT. But Louis Arthur Grimes School of Law conducts LSAT. They have their own standardized LSAT. We're going to have our own standardized LSAT. So it's not a standardized examination that is going to be administered by LU, Liberia School of Law, and the Liberia School of Law. LSAT means Law School Aptitude Test. So we will be drawing our own aptitude test based on the standard that has been set by the American LSAT.
Let me ask you final question, and then we will be asking for closing.
Let me just add this, but it will be based on standards, but it will be very contextualized to the Liberian setting. Huh?
That's correct.
Somebody reading our questions, we're going to be talking Liberian. Our reading comprehension analysis, what I will be reflecting Liberian history, Liberian culture. What we test you on will be contextualized to the Liberian setting.
Will you be offering honorary degrees so you can give me one? But anyway, my question.
Well, if you invite us back a couple more times, we'll consider that.
Dennis, you won't be Doctor?
Yeah, Doctor 3.
How do you build? Our problem too in Liberia being ethics, right? Integrity. So sometimes I heard of a lawyer who is he's on the defense lawyer, right? Where you go on the other side and say, "This is what." How do you build ethics and integrity in into your curriculum?
Well, we will just have students. We have to. They have to have in the back of their head that the profession is self-regulated. The Supreme Court has a commission or committee on ethics. Many lawyers have been barred from the practice of law. So again, you can teach ethics, but the practice of ethics is a function of each individual lawyer. But there are severe consequences of the example you gave. How do you represent the defendant and the plaintiff at the same time? That's an ethical violation. How do you misapply or mismanage a client's fund or a fund that should be held in trust? That's an ethical issue. And then we have, the Committee on Ethics. And when you are reported to that committee, they do their investigation. And when you are found to be liable or guilty, you will be barred from the practice of law. So we have many cases where attorneys have been disbarred from the practice of law.
Thank you.
Let me jump on that a little bit. After Imran,
Jimmy, we gotta close. Jimmy.
Okay.
Jimmy, we gotta close. Since they're not giving my.
It was going to be 10 seconds.
Go ahead.
After Imran, ethics was emphasized in all master's degree courses, at least in the better schools, because ethics had been compromised. Now, the reason why they're asking about ethics, how ethics is in Liberia. We have to don't we have to mold the mentality of lawyers to be so that they become more ethical, given the practice what we see already in Liberia?
No, true. We have to. And one way we're looking to do that, right now in our curriculum, we're offering, and most law schools, they're offering ethics as a senior year course. After we completed our curriculum, we looked at it and we had some. One thing we decided we're going to revise that is that important we teach ethics from first year through third year. So that one change we're going to make. We're not going to leave ethics for last year. Ethics is one course at the end. When you're ready to leave law school, then you do legal ethics. We want to start it from first year through to the third year. Like she said, ultimately depend on the person. But I think it's also, we all agree that it's also important that you expose them to ethical issue formally in a legal setting as a course. And we're going to be doing that from first year through third year.
That way too, they'll be able to prosecute on ethical behavior. Glenn, you want to say something before?
Yeah, I want to say something. Interestingly, I hear Mr. Clement saying that, but they wouldn't engage in political questions. I want to say I have to ask this question because you're talking about ethics, legal ethics in your school. We're looking at Liberia, our country today, looking at punitive measures. How would you be able to approach that from a legal perspective, where you're going to be teaching ethics to your students and to our Liberian society now? How are you planning to approach that aspect of it? Because then Dennis also mentioned ethical behaviors.
I don't follow you, Glenda. You said we're talking about punitive measure with respect
No,
to
I'm
what?
talking about when you look at our Liberian
I
society
don't follow
right
you,
now.
Glenda. You said we're looking at talking
Impunity,
about
when you look at
punitive
Liberian society
measure.
right, I can't. Somebody
Yeah.
was. When you look at our Liberian society right now, there are a lot of things we're seeing that are unethical, but we're not seeing anybody being punished openly for it. So when you're coming now
Give me
and
an
there's
example.
there are so many
Give me an
things.
example,
We got
Glenda.
corruption. We're talking about corruption. We got gag report. We got different things that's going on right now. We got people that are being involved in so many things that we're not hearing about. They do an audit. No one gets punished about it, and it just goes away. So when you're opening a new school, creating a new backdrop for the Liberian law in Liberia, in assistance with the current school we have, what are you saying to your students as it relates to when they are lawyers? What do they do? What do they promote? How can they help our society to refocus on ethical behaviors as lawyers?
So, good question, Jenny. And you see, let's just say when you go to our website, we say training lawyers to promote democratic governance, and we could have added accountable. Democratic governance includes accountable, but I want it to be a democratic governance that you're elected by the people, but you're not transparent and accountable. But accountability come at the end, right, when the voters got to vote. But that choice that we say we want to train lawyers to promote democratic governance and inclusive development, it was not by mistake. It was well thought out. We could have said, because when people look at it, say, but what they want got to do with law, democratic governance, and inclusive development. But we think it is important that we instill in our students the thing you're talking about. And democratic governance assume ethical, that people are ethical. Inclusive development assumes that the society, the government put primacy on equitable distribution of the national wealth. I mean, at the end of the day, political theories and say, you have what they call the political settlement, the means by which societies reach agreement, informal or informal, are how to, divide wealth and power in the country so that everybody benefits. And when the political fails, hell breaks loose. And we've seen in our country, the political settlement has failed several times. You guys were talking about politics, and maybe we can talk about. Go back to E.J. Roy. That was the first time the political settlement in Liberia failed, and we had the toppling of Roy, and we fought for it. We don't know, but Liberia went through a difficult period for about 30 years after the toppling of Roy. Then the political settlement settled again when Hillary Richard Wright Johnson was elected. The Chewy Party and the Republican Party both nominated Hillary Richard Wright Johnson. He was the son of Elijah Johnson. He was a prince. And when he won the election, he declared himself to be the true Uyghur. And the settlers, the political settlement they made among themselves with the election of Hillary Richard Wright Johnson, that political settlement lasted well into the 50s and the 60s. And then came Tubman. And the political settlement again was shaken. All the assassination attempt against Tubman, and Tubman saying people wanted to assassinate him. The political settlement again was shaken. And then we had the ultimate breakdown of the political settlement with the military coup of 1980. And then the war. And we know what that took us. Because when the political settlement isn't fair, then people with the means and the ability to challenge the existing order, will do so. And so the lessons we learn from all of this, our history, is that a political settlement that is inclusive, that is transparent, is essential for the long-term stability and prosperity of Nigeria. So it's not a small measure when we attach importance to our law school, wanting to train our students who can go out and be champions for promoting democracy and inclusive development. Not just development, but inclusive development. Development that, not everybody will benefit equally. Not everybody will have the same amount of money, but at least we feel and give everybody the same opportunity. And, At the end of the day, this is the kind of thinking behind what we're doing. It's more than teaching law. And that's what we want to inspire our students to go out and be agents for positive change, agent for accountable governance, agent for growth that benefits everybody, because our history has shown us that is the key to long-term stability and prosperity of Liberia. I rest my case.
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't know you were
Thank
pleased
you,
with
and
me.
I want to thank all of you for coming.
The lawyers have submitted.
Yes.
At this time, we're going to ask our guests for their closing. If anything we didn't cover that you want to touch on, please do that within the next 49 seconds each.
All right, quickly, sometimes when you begin to call names, there's a tendency that you miss out some names. We have a luminary on our team in the person of Tiawan Gonglo. He's no stranger to you all, a human rights lawyer, a constitutional lawyer as well. And then Glennie asked us whether we have a female on our team. Yes, we have Lucia Soni Bala. Okay, she's also on the team. And the process will continue. We will incorporate more women into the team. Again, Dennis and his panelists, thank you again for inviting us to your show. We gave you short notice, but thanks for accommodating us. It's our pleasure, and we'll be willing to come again. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clement?
Yeah, well, thank you, Dennis, and thank you to all of your panelists here, Glendy, Jerome, and Clarence. I see Victor, and then Thomas. Thanks to all you guys for having us on the show. We look forward to being back. When I started, we think we renew to the benefit of Liberia. We think we renew to the benefit of all Liberians. And we only want to do this and do it well. And overridingly, we want to be more than a law school. We want to be an institution that is an exemplar of how Liberians can do things right. How you can run an organization professionally, efficiently, accountably, and achieve good results. And that's the standard by which we're looking to be judged over the years. Thank you.
Thank you. Tomorrow, join us at 9 o'clock for the Liberia Leadership Academy. That's 9 a.m. Then at 3, we're going to have FOL Marketplace, where our business people are going to discuss the CBL audit reports. Then at 8 o'clock is the 7:30 is the Liberia History Channel. We're going to be dealing with the crimes of Great Britain against Liberia. You don't want to miss that. Woo! Sunday is on point at 4 p.m. Please come. Next Sunday at 1 p.m. on the noonday, we're going to have the national orator, Dr. Robtel Ninje Pele, will be the guest of Priscilla Mambella on the noonday. You don't want to miss it. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Glendy, please close us.
Great show. Great show. Wouldn't have missed this for the world. I didn't even know who the guest was coming, and I said, yes, I'm coming. But it's been good. I think Dennis should allow you all to come back. I don't think we exhausted all of the questions. I think this was a good show, and I think the ratings will say that. Two eloquent sons of Liberia on here doing great things. I have nothing but praises for you all. I wish I went to law school, but I didn't. But I wish you all the absolute best. Yeah, I know it's not lit, but you're not gonna let us do it online. But anyway, thank you all so much, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Was this an hour? It went by fast. It's about almost
2 hours.
It's almost 10 o'clock Liberian time, and I'm just getting awake. Thanks to you guys. A good discussion.
On that note, we close with a song that says, we are all Liberians. Whether you live in Liberia or in the diaspora, whether you Mano, Gio, Pele, Grebo, or Crown, we are all Liberians. What is incumbent upon all of us is to do whatever it takes to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Have a good night, and God bless you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia, everyone. Liberia, oh. la vive.